That money, 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 money. I don't come to money, 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 money. Do it all for money, 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 money. Let me stack that money, 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 money. Come and get that money, 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 money. I don't come to money.
Good evening. Welcome to Plus Money Golf on the Fantasy Sports Corp Network. Show with the pro and the caddy. That'd be Adam and Smitty. My name is Eric. I'm just the host. We are brought to you this evening, as all evenings, by Jazz Sportsbook, Casino and Racebook, and Underdog Fantasy. You can use code Plus Money, all one word, get a 100% deposit match up to $100. That's a great. You're already winning a bet just by depositing. Chris is over there. He's got like 4 screens. He's getting us on the internet, doing all the important shit. Adam and Smitty are both here. That's good stuff. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Good. Long week.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy how, like, when the 4th of July, man, sits right towards the middle of a week, it just makes everything feel like,
drags out.
Yeah.
It's put that thing on a Tuesday and it messes up 2 different weeks.
A lot of golf
and plus
a lot of beverages.
Golf.
Yeah,
exactly. So what did we do last week? I think based on the text messages.
Last week, we didn't recap last or the week before Rocket with Ricky.
That's right. We haven't talked about the Rocket Mortgage yet.
Yeah, with Ricky winning at plus 1,400. You know, we had one in a top 20, Pendrith in a top 20. Lucas Glover goes 4th place, gets a top 20. And played.
He really helped out the DFS lineup. Old Lucas Glover. Nobody had him.
Yeah,
0.3%.
And he gets 6th last week at Deer, which I knew he was going to play good. He always plays good there. He loves Quad Cities. And I watched a lot of it that I could when I wasn't playing. And all they talked about, like, there was a group of 10 or 12 guys that just said this is their favorite tournament of the year because they like the area. It's like low key, like Poston. What was it? Poston, the guy that won. There's like 6 guys and they like rent a house. And now they've been 2 for 2. So it's like, yeah, we're going to see. I hope JT gets that house locked in again for next year. So
yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome if those guys do something like that. Like, I mean, because obviously most of them can afford to have their own house if they want to, right? But like the fact that they come together and they rent a house and they're all chilling together and having a good time, and that camaraderie, I think, on tour has and continues to get closer and closer and better as the years go on. I feel like, because if you were talking about something like this, 20 years ago,
that wouldn't happen.
What the
10 years ago, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's just that stuff did not happen ever, and that trickles down. That trickles down all the way down to the level in which I coach at the high school level now. Where it's like, man, you can think about where when you were in high school and you had your rivals and you hated each other, right? And like you never talked to those dudes ever. Now they're like best friends off the floor, off the field. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I think it's where you see the growth of like junior golf through PGA Junior League and like the junior golf tours and the AJGA, and
they get to know each other so well.
Where all these kids are playing together every week. They get friends, and then they go to college, and they're friends in college, and then they're friends on the tour, and it's really cool to see. But like now you have these big, huge national teams. Like a friend of mine's son just went to Japan for the junior world championship. And I mean, he's probably there with people that he's going to be friends with through college and maybe on the tour, but it's cool. And, people probably don't realize that. I mean, there's some large homes in Davenport area where the tournament was. Like, people wouldn't realize probably how much money's down there, but with Deer's, corporate headquarters being there, I mean, there's massive homes there. Yeah, there's a lot of, 8 to 10,000 square foot homes down there, like bigger than you would see in California.
Yeah, it's a little cheaper to live there too.
Yeah.
Your money stretches a little bit more.
It definitely does. If you're making 10 mil a year at Deer, your money goes way farther than it would be if you're in California.
No kidding.
Is
No,
the
I
average
just think that that's like a thing though, where, you know, these dudes, they start playing so competitively at a young age, right? And the friends that they would make normally at school and that kind of thing, right? It's just not happening all that much, right? Because
Yeah.
they're never home and they never get a chance to hang out with anybody. So this is their world. And if they didn't make friends with kids that they played on the junior tour and all that kind of stuff, they wouldn't have any friends.
Well, we see it now with every sport like golf, motocross, tennis, where these kids are elite athletes at 11, 12, 13, and they're just doing the homeschool or the online
Yeah.
school. And they're not worried about playing high school golf because they know they're already going to go to college by playing these national events. So high school golf kind of is missing out, and high school tennis for that matter, because the elite kids are traveling. They can't be in school. There's tournaments year round all over the world. So
wow.
Yeah, I mean, like I was talking to you guys before the show, the kid that I was caddying for, just yesterday, he was talking about how, we came in from Sacramento and now we're playing at Erin Hills today because we have a day off. Tomorrow I have to go play my practice round, and then I'm taking Wednesday off, and then I start the event. And then as soon as I get done with the event, we leave right after my round, go to the airport, fly back to Sacramento. And the very next day, he's got a 2.5 hour drive north for another event that starts. And I'm just like, what?
I worked at a
that's my
place.
summer.
I worked at a place that hosted these, like an AJGA event. And there's, I mean, kids from Korea, Japan, China that fly over here just to play for the whole summer. And they're not schooling when they get back home. They're just staying here doing online. I mean, I watch a lot of motocross, and those kids, they have like a motocross, basically high school that's online. And then like there was 2 or 3 kids that graduated last week at the race. So I mean, they do the whole graduation ceremony, but I mean, if you're an elite talent, you know, you just essentially, I mean, really, you don't have time for school. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. You're not going to need to learn the skills necessary to sell insurance. That's not going to be your life.
No, you can worry about something when you're done with the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, that's how it is today.
But it's cool. It's cool to see players that are getting together. It's got to make the tour grind a lot less difficult. I mean, you see at socials this week. I mean, Ricky, JT, and Jordan are all hanging out at Wimbledon, and you know, Zalatoris was there. Luke Donald was there. All these guys are there, just getting ready for the Scottish this week, and then the British the next week. So
it's going to make for even better Ryder Cup teams.
It is. Yeah, you're going to have guys that really bond, that can play good with any player, instead of like, who are we going to put Phil with because he only plays with this guy, or who are you going to put Patrick Reed with? It's like, dude, you could throw, you know, JT Poston out there, could probably play with a dozen different guys and still get along.
Yeah, it's not really going to matter. They're literally going to be able to look at things and be like, here's how we match up the best. These are our pairs, and let's.
Well, you see it in practice rounds. I mean, there's 4 or 5 guys playing together, where used to in the day it would be Tiger on his own with maybe one guy, or Phil on his own with maybe one guy. Like nobody wanted to reveal anything, and they're using these practice rounds more for just hanging out and having fun, you know.
Interesting.
Which another story about the deer. So, kid from my club played in the Pro-Am with Zach Johnson, Caitlin Clark, and Aberg, and this, from what I was told, I don't know if it's true. I didn't ask him what he shot, but he supposedly shot 72, and he's 13 years old.
Jeez.
And he said, I said, did you outdrive Zach? And he said, yeah, I was outdriving Zach. But he's like, Aberg, there's no chance. That dude moves it. He's like, it gets out there so fast. It's just a different level of golf. But he sounded like Aberg was probably he said he was one of the nicest pros that he had met at the tournament. So that's cool for him.
That is cool.
He just made the list. He's been playing really well as of late.
He has. 4th place last week.
He was up there right away and hung in. You see these guys fall off.
Yeah.
It's crazy how the leaderboard changes.
It was a pretty good. The picks I posted, I mean, I had Poston, Glover, and Aberg in the top 10, and Glover and Aberg in the top 20. So Wasn't
Nice.
too bad for me.
No.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta we gotta make
Wasn't
sure that
Straka
we have a show next year. Even like the 4th cannot get in our way next year, and we got to figure something out next year for us to actually get down there together.
And the deer was actually sold out.
Wow.
Like every day, and the practice runs were sold out.
It's the working man's major.
They did have concerts on Saturday and Sunday, which were free if you had a grounds pass. But my wife's friend had asked where you could find tickets, so I go on the website just to see. Club seats were sold out. All the club, like the VIP seats, the $250 tickets were sold. The grounds passes were all sold out. So, I mean, if you're every other tour event, look at having concerts, because the additional ticket sales easily offsets what you're gonna pay for Blake Shelton to come sing for one night, or
That's
Darius
a
Rucker.
fantastic idea. Yeah, that's
When
a
Darius
fantastic
Rucker's
idea.
already in the area for a concert in Dubuque on Thursday. So
or you could have like a dozen people run out on the green and do the chicken dance.
yeah,
That's kind of what the
brutal.
Live is doing.
I didn't even realize again there was even a live event.
That's the only reason I knew, was because they resorted to a flash mob to get into people's Twitter feeds.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's not going to happen
I
anymore.
have blacked out all live events.
I've
since the
seen that. I did see today where they are moving the live championship from Saudi Arabia to, I think, Trump Doral. So
yeah. It's about 50 degrees cooler, probably.
yeah, there's something to that, I would think. You know, with the new deal, like, could be TV. Like, they're trying to get more TV. It's in Saudi Arabia. The time difference is going to be brutal.
Oh,
The
yeah.
ratings are already terrible when they don't have like in central US viewing time. Whether West Coast or East Coast or overseas, like nobody's watching him because it's just
Yeah,
terrible.
those World Cup games were going on at like
Yeah.
2 a.m.
One of my friends went, he said he's been to 3 or 4 live events, and he said that the what they show you for spectators is only on the days when they have the concert. He said the other days, the people there, it's just terrible. Like the attendance is terrible. He's like, there's literally 5,000 people there when there's no concert. But the days when they take all their pictures of like, we have more people here, it's when they have a concert and there's 40,000 people because they've got a concert. They're not coming to watch golf.
Sounds to me like I could get a media credential and a one-on-one interview with Taylor Gooch.
Probably could.
Liv will have to have an event up here eventually.
We'll see. There's lots of
wanna-
stuff coming out week to week about Liv.
Yeah, who knows how many events are left.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it could be. I mean, the way things are going, that could end so abruptly.
It sounds like we might have some sort of like, where like we have these opposite field events. There could be opposite field events for like 50 guys that are. It's a somewhat live event, but it's a tour event.
Oh,
To where they
beat
just
'em at
have,
their own
they just
game.
have so
I
they
think-
just continue to have
Yeah.
alternate events.
I think like the elevated
That'd be
events
alright.
will be, like they'll have 10 instead of 20 elevated events. They may have like 10 or 15 that are super high payout, but only certain people get to play.
It's kind of like, I mean, honestly, it'd kind of be like this is how, so like the Barbasol, how it got
Yeah.
started was because of the Open initially, right? It was an alternate event, and that's because it's only been going on since 2015. So I mean, it's that was the reason it was invented. So maybe it's kind of like that. Like, all right, we got this big elevated event this weekend, and there's only these guys can come. The rest of you, if you would like to play still, here's this other event across the country where no one will be paying attention to you.
Perfect
Which is
segue.
fine. I
Smitty.
mean, if you look at like
It is fine.
the John Deere field, like I was actually talked with a couple of guys this week about it, and guys that follow golf or bet on golf, and they were like, this is probably the strongest field Deere's had in 5 or 10 years.
Mhm.
If you look at the players in there and how they've been performing week to week, I thought it was the strongest field they've had probably ever. Because when Spieth was there, he was a nobody. I mean, he was right out of college. I mean, he kind of put it on the map, and then you got a few guys every now and then when they were good, but I thought the field this year was way stronger.
What's he doing? Is he carrying his suits around in a Walmart bag, or
Probably.
What's the deal? Did you see that picture of him in the wrinkled up suit?
It's probably
pretty
a
rough.
linen suit, dude.
Oh yeah, I
I
bet.
noticed he was the only one not wearing a tie, so could have been like his stuff got lost,
Oh yeah.
or he doesn't know
had
how
a-
to iron.
Might have had a rough one at the airport. I don't know how to iron. I've tried it a couple times. Very unsuccessful.
Come on, you know how to
Anyway.
iron. Get out of here.
I know how to, I know how to try to do it like I see people on TV, but it don't work out.
He looked very
Listen-
uncomfortable in a suit, though,
Yeah.
compared to JT and Ricky.
Do we want
Now-
to give some love to Sepp Straka before we move on? here,
Yeah.
or what?
Wasn't
That
he
was awesome.
133rd on Friday?
Well, he
He
went
was-
bonkers.
11 under through 14.
Yeah. And I
Like,
mean,
for
he
the
was running
day,
away. He
not
was
the
running away
tournament.
with this thing all of a sudden, come the back nine. And then, he would have won by 4 if he just could have managed to par on the last hole, and he doubles the last hole. That's why it looks respectable then, like for the rest of the guys. But it really
Yeah.
wasn't a race at all. I mean, he was just
No.
limping into the finish line. He knew he won. And yeah, it's kind of crazy though. 11 under through 14 is absolutely insane.
Those
He
last
almost got
4 holes,
59.
those last 5 holes at Deere are extremely difficult. Like the short par 4, if you miss it in the wrong spot, you're dead. And then the next hole, you have a really difficult off the tee, and then a really difficult into the approach, and then you have a short par 3, and then 17's it's a par 5 that's reachable, but it's not a cakewalk.
Yeah, 17's kind of an interesting, I feel like, par 5 hole, and then
Deceivingly
you still-
difficult hole.
you
It
have
is.
you have to hit your spots in the fairway off the tee on that one to have like a good look and a good angle in there. And then the same thing is on 18 too. You have to be on the right.
Yeah.
You have to be in the correct spot on the fairway to have a really good look at where you want to be on the green.
17 off the tee has way more curve than it looks from the TV. Like when
Yeah,
you
'cause
play
when you're
it,
there
you
in
have to
person-
hug it hard up the left to be able to have a good angle in.
Yep.
And even if you're on the right, like the fairway almost is like, I don't know, it's kind of a bowl, but then it crowns up on the edges. So if you're on the edges of the fairway, I think it's a more difficult shot than if you're in the middle of the fairway. But then in the middle of the fairway, you really don't have a good angle to the flag.
Yeah.
And you've got bunkers up there, and then the green is really diabolical. It just sets way up with huge collection areas that are almost impossible to get up and down for the slope on the green.
Yeah, I think I kind of like those. I like those last 3 holes a lot there. I think
Yeah.
it gives you a really wide variety of golf holes, especially with their, being that there's that water, just
Yeah.
on 18 as
18's a
well.
hard finishing hole. It's
Mhm.
probably one of the hardest finishing holes I've played personally, because you have to hit a perfect drive and you have no room for error with the driver. If you're
Yeah, you don't.
just a touch down the right side of the fairway, you have no shot to the green. And if you're left, there's
Yeah,
like
'cause
that
they have
huge
those
bunker,
They have those trees that come right up
Yeah.
to the fairway almost.
and they
right?
overhang.
Mhm.
And like we saw on Saturday, Cam Young hits it in the bunker and then just fats it right into the pond and makes double and goes from in contention to he's off the board for the rest of the week.
Tell you, he was only 3 back going into Sunday, and he was 14-1, and I'm like, man, that looks juicy to take him at 14-1 right now, 3 shots back, because he's a guy that's capable of doing what Sepp did.
Yeah.
Yep. I went back. I bet Lucas Glover at least 4 times, maybe 5,
Man.
because I kept just expecting him to do it.
Yeah.
I go 65-1, 35-1. I'll take those.
Yeah. I think
There would have been commas
if Sepp doesn't just
he would have won.
if Sepp doesn't just put his foot down, I think a lot of guys, I mean, we probably would have seen a huge playoff maybe.
Yeah, we would have seen a playoff, yeah, for sure.
I mean, if you're leaderboard watching and you get to 14 or 15 and see the board and you're like, oh, this dude just shot 29 on the front, like it's over for me. I'm just
Well,
gonna
yeah,
try
when
to
you're-
par
Yeah.
in.
when you're on hole 15 and you look back, it's like, what the hell? Straka's 23 under.
And you're 6 back, and
Huh?
it's like, okay, we'll have to birdie out. So now it's all different tee
Yeah,
angles.
now I just
all
need to make sure I
different-
don't lose any money here.
Yeah.
I need to get in. Yeah,
Yeah.
it changes your mindset for sure. Because then the guys are probably, I mean, some of these guys that are 16 under, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7
Playing
guys
way
who
more
finish at
aggressive.
16 under. Those guys are all playing way more aggressive.
And
you got
can't
guys in
play.
there. You
The
got guys
second
in there like
becomes first
Wilson
for
and
them.
Glover and Cam
Yeah.
Young and Grayson Murray, like all those guys.
And you can play aggressive there. You just have to play defensive aggressive, because I mean, a 2-yard difference on some of the approaches and you're just dead, like no shot. It's a real, I mean, they shoot a million under there, but it's really difficult if you're not hitting it center of the green. The par threes are hard. The layup par fours are hard. So yeah, it's a good course.
Well, let's get into the Barbasol, shall we? This week, it's going to be a predominantly Barbasol episode. We'll get into the Scottish a little bit, though. Champion Trace Golf Club, they call it. It looks pretty cool. Hole 2, a tricky par 3 with a shallow tiered green. I'm starting to learn some of these golf terms. They were talking about collection areas on these greens, too. 18, they call Waterloo. It's got bunkers, water, a little tiny green. All the makings of a good Sunday afternoon choke job. I think that's going to be a fun hole to watch these guys, especially if it's close. It looks like a lot of mistakes could be made there.
Yeah.
I
Is this
got
the same course we played last year.
I don't know. The name
Yes.
didn't look familiar to
It
me.
is. Okay.
Yeah, so they've been at this course since 2018. Before that, they were at like the Grand National course in Alabama.
Oh yeah.
So like they originally started in Alabama, which was like the first time they ever had anything in Alabama since was it
Bear
the
Bryant?
PGA in 1990 or something
Maybe.
like that. Yeah, but I don't know. It's a cool looking course. I mean, I like it. I
Yeah.
like these courses that name every one of their holes and they have like a very unique name to them. It's I don't know. I feel like there's some sort of it just makes it feel more prestigious, like, oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah, the
Like it's-
website, all the holes are sort of painted in watercolor.
Like when you
Very
start off on
classy.
hole 1 with Pandora's box,
Yeah.
it's like, come on.
It's
But
gonna be a long day.
it's a core. It's a good course, right? Like good
It's got
numbers
some
on it.
length
I
to
mean,
it. It's
par
got a couple
72
short-
and it's 70. Like I think it's being played at like 73-28. So, it's enough to bite off. That's for sure. But there's a par 4, a couple par 4s, I think, under 400 yards.
Is our winner going to be 21 under again this week?
Yeah, I think it's going to be somewhere between 20 and 25, honestly. Ever since it came to this course, it's been anywhere from like I think it's been 21 to 25 last year. I think Mullinax won at 25 under. Is that right? Yeah, 25 under. But you know what? Here's a really crazy stat. And Eric, you're going to like this because you're probably going to put a bet in by the time the show is over. So since this thing started, there has been 2015, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the 7 years minus the COVID year, right? 4 of them have finished within 1 stroke, and there have been 2 playoffs.
Ooh.
And the only one that's the odd duck out is the first year. The winner won by 3 strokes. So it's gone from last year. It was 1 stroke. The year before was a playoff. The year before was 1 stroke. 2 years before that was 1 stroke. Then 1 stroke before that, playoff, 3 strokes.
We're
So
going to be able to live bet this thing all weekend.
yeah, I would say that it's a great. I don't know what the numbers are. I'd have to look at. I was trying to see it before, but what the numbers were on a playoff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a pretty good shot at happening though.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Golf odds, lines.
Let's see. Will there be? They probably don't even have it on here.
So, what do we got?
It's probably
Golfer
so likely.
props. Tournament props, probably. Albatross wire to wire winner is plus 1,200.
Yeah. See, I don't see anything for a playoff. So I bet you that'll have to be a nice little live bet at some point when somebody gets up a few strokes.
Yeah.
But I thought that was pretty interesting because like you don't see a lot of events happen every single year where it's a playoff or 1 stroke.
Right.
Interesting list here. Taylor Pendrith is your favorite.
Yeah. How's
Vincent
Lucas Glover
Norman?
not the favorite?
I mean,
The dude's on
Lucas
a
Glover's,
straight
Lucas
heater.
Glover's he's right there. I mean,
He's on a straight heater right now.
Is it pronounced Justin Lower or Justin Lauer?
Lauer.
Lauer, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, ever since Glover switched putters, was it 4 weeks ago? He's Man, he's been rolling it really good.
Yeah.
He switched to the same. So I guess the story was he called Lab Golf and said, I want the exact same, make me the exact same thing that Adam Scott has. Like same grip, same length, same weight, everything.
It's funny. It seems like that's happening quite a bit now all of a sudden where guys are seeing things and like, oh man, I really like that look. Like, just do that for me.
Yeah, I think they like go out and practice rounds and they're, you know, like guys are just dicking around like you do when you're with your buddies and like, oh, let me try that. And you try it and you're like, oh shit, that looks really good. So
Smart though.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to play with a large number of different guys from week to week, you try some different things that they're doing. Like, oh man, that actually really works for me.
You see that a lot with like when guys play practice runs with Tiger and Tiger's like showing him different shots that he hits, like especially at Augusta, which is kind of interesting.
Which goes back into the conversation we had before about that camaraderie, right? Like, and just the relationships that guys have on the tour now. Like they're willing to help each other out. They understand that, we're competing against each other, but we're also in this thing together because we want to make golf as good as it can possibly be. I think that's a really great mindset, especially from a business standpoint, man. And those guys understand that they want the better the PGA Tour is doing, the more money that is going into their pocket.
Well, I mean, Odyssey sold out of that putter that Ricky and Clark were using. They haven't had that putter in their product line in like 3-4 years. You could go on Golf Discount, or you could go on the Callaway website and buy the used version for like $50. And then the next week it's like sold out. And they're now all of a sudden they're making replica putters for $400 off a bunch of heads that they probably had laying around in the back room.
It's crazy though. Like it's funny because just the buzz like on the golf course when I'm caddying, guys are talking about that, you know, like amateur golfers are talking about that. It's like, oh yeah, like, and all of a sudden now like guys are looking at other guys in groups and stuff. It's like, oh, what putter do you have in your bag and stuff? Yeah. Like, oh, you got an Odyssey putter over there, and then they start talking about Ricky, and then it's like, okay, but it's true though how the buzz happens, and then all of a sudden, bam.
Yep.
Millie Goat's typing Lauer in all caps as if I could pronounce it. It's still Lwoer. It looked like lower to me. And when they tweeted about him, I thought, a guy named Lower. How was I not on that? Lauer, close enough. I don't see Aberg. This is a weird field, boys.
He's playing in the Scottish.
He's
ranked high enough or qualified already. I think he probably got a qualification for being NCAA or USAM champ or whatever.
Got a guy named Josh Teeter here.
Yeah, Josh Teeter's been out on tour for a while.
Like it. Austin Smotherman way down here. I just got a feeling about the Smotherman this week.
There's a lot of guys playing this week that were have been flip-flopping back and forth to the Corn Ferry every other week. And a lot of guys that have been on the struggle bus for a while too.
Yeah,
it's a streaky deal.
But it's a Ryder Cup year, you know. It's the old Kenny Perry method where it's like the year Kenny Perry made the Ryder Cup team at like 49 or 50. And I think he had won maybe Deere. And then they said, well, you can go to the British. And he said, no, I'm going to go to I think it was Barbasol, and said, I'm just going to go there and get some points. Goes there and wins. And it's like, you get Ryder Cup points for winning the Scottish the same as you get for winning Barbasol. So why would you go, or the British, you know?
Yeah.
If British Open courses don't fit your eye, why would you travel when you could go play an opposite field event against maybe guys that aren't to your level and just cash a check, get some Ryder Cup points, and secure your spot in the playoffs? Because, I mean, for Lucas Glover, I mean, this is a perfect way for him to, if he doesn't want to go play the British next week, like he gets a win this week. Now he's easily in the FedEx playoff, probably creeping up that Ryder Cup list. I mean, it makes total sense to just stay in the US, be comfortable, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unless in your own bed, not some weird castle or whatever.
Unless some of the guys are taking like a lot of times they'll take a recon trip over to the Ryder Cup course and play, you know, like Monday, Tuesday. Like this week they didn't post anything, but I would assume that some of them went over there to play it. It's in Rome. I mean, you're already there. You got a private jet.
In Rome.
Yeah.
It can't be hard to just buzz over there for the afternoon, play a couple rounds and come back.
True. Well, let's get into these winners and tops things. Before we do that, here's a message from our good friends at Jazz Online Sportsbook, Casino, and Racebook. You use code TSS over there. You're going to get a deposit match. Go check them out. They have a race book. They have a live casino. You can play blackjack. You can bet games. You can live bet stuff. You got all the stuff. Or you can go to Underdog. Should we make an Underdog lineup? There's some interesting names here. Perhaps. But first, top 20s. Smitty, who you got?
All right, top 20 this week. I have a lot of similar names throughout my entire pick. I have a couple different in my top 20 here, but I have to start off. I have Akshay Bhatia at plus 160. A little disappointing last week being T35 at the Deer, but it
wasn't close to an ocean.
Yeah, we got to get him back to the Caribbean.
It's true. And, he's going to be in Kentucky. I guess it's a little closer to an ocean. And it is summertime, so maybe. But you look at this field and you see his name, and I just feel his name pops out to me quite well, just out of pure talent, right? So I have him at plus 160. I have Grayson Murray at plus 180. He just had a nice Deer finish in T6. So I think this is another spot for him. I have Nicholas Norgard at plus 210.
No regard for human life.
Then I have
210.
210, yeah. Then I have Patton Kazire at plus 240, and then former winner Scott Piercy at 260.
Piercy sounds like the forgotten dwarf.
He won the very first event here, but so it was at the Alabama course, but we'll give him a shot,
Yeah.
See how it goes.
Exactly. I like it. Some fresh names. What do you got over there, Adam, for top 20s?
Yeah,
AKA my DraftKings lineup.
I tried to switch up a few guys, but I think just the way some of the course looked off the tee, I had Kevin Tway at 260. It had like an oak tree feel to it, so I thought maybe, look for him. He's let me down a few times, but yeah. Then I had Josh Teeter at 275. Just the
nice. Teeter made the list.
Yep. Kevin Chappell at 300. And then I had Kramer Hickok at 320. And then Doc Redman at 360, just to get some different guys in there. Some guys that have been getting close, like within a few shots of popping that top 20 lately. Or the Kevin Tway's had a lot of top 20s this year. So,
yeah. I like Tway at plus 260. Man, there's nobody better at puns than the Millie Goats. I try to hang with those guys, but it's like a natural ability that they have. Like you guys do, picking golfers. Hang on, Adam. I put your top 20s in the winner column. I'm gonna have to copy paste those over to top 20.
Well, one of them's probably in there.
Probably. Old Kevin Tway is my guess.
That'd be cool.
That'd be pretty sick.
I would not mind that. Profit from it and everything. Okay, we got Smitty's top 20s. We got Adam's top 20s. Now we're on to Smitty's top 10s, and we're back on track.
All right. Well, we're jumping on the Taylor Pendrith bandwagon here at plus 200. Just a guy that you could feel like he is trying to get himself moving, and I think he's starting to move in the right direction. And you think about it again, out of pure talent, right? Like, who's the best? There's a reason why he's got the lowest odds.
Yeah,
he has arguably, right? Like, at least recently, the best track record as far as like what's going on in PGA Tour with him. So if he can get things right, he's a really good player that he showed at the end of the year last year when he came off that injury. Then I have Lucas Glover at plus 250, right? We talk about that all the time.
These guys are both the favorites. They should be like plus
heater,
110, man. Plus 150.
I thought they would be on negatives.
Yeah. What is Glover's odds?
plus 250 top 10. Like ride
Putting a
the
whole
heat,
paycheck
man.
on that, dude.
And then I have Batia at plus 320. Grayson Murray I have at plus 360. And then Nicholas Norgard I have at plus 400. I'll talk about him in a little bit because he's in my next group too.
All right. Well, I thought for a minute we were going to have the exact same top 10s. So the last pick, I was like, that's my list. That's my guy. That's my guy. That's my guy. I was like, oh, we're going to have the exact same list here.
I mean, it's just,
I was like, that's almost too good. Like, people better bet the whole paycheck if me and Smitty both randomly pick 5 top 10s the same.
That is good.
In a not elite field.
yeah, where you actually have to look. I'll be honest. I mean, there's some guys that are in the upper half of the odds that I had to go and Google, like, who the hell is this guy and what has he done? Like, what tour is he on? Like normally and stuff. And so there was some things that I need to look up, but
yeah. So
so you got Pendrith, Glover,
Batia,
and Murray.
Yep. And then I had Justin Lauer at 400.
Yep.
We still went we both went with somebody at plus 400 too.
Yeah. So. I was like, man, this is going to be the exact same list. I was like, oh, that's a sign. Everybody needs to bet it.
I agree.
Yeah. Yep. I feel really good about this. It's going to be a good week. I think we got to get producer Chris to even bet these. Make some monies. Pay for your whole tournament trip.
Well, last time we had similar picks was last year John Deere when we started our Rake Fest.
Yeah.
That was arguably the best 4th of July ever.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah. I wasn't able to watch. I was just checking the scores on the ESPN app, just waiting for them all to be Fs on the side.
We were rolling so good that whole entire weekend last year during the John Deere that like I felt like I was looking at my phone when I wasn't watching the tournament. Like every 10 minutes, like, okay, what's going on? Where are the scores at now? Where are these guys? They still doing this? All right.
Total radio silence. Not one text message from any of the
on the last 4 holes.
Yep. Yeah, when there's no text going on a Sunday, then you know we're looking good.
Yeah.
Things are possibly happening. That loyal fans, those are the best kind.
We even
don't worry. We listen.
There's only two hearts though. Like, who didn't get one?
I don't know. Maybe they're both mine. No, it's probably you guys. You're the pro and the caddy. I'm just the facilitator. Now, winners. Tell us why Manuel Noriega is going to win this thing, Smitty.
All right, so I have Taylor Pendrith at plus 1,600, Lucas Glover at plus 2,000. I have Akshay at plus 2,500, Grayson Murray at plus 3,500, and then I have Nicholas Norgard at plus 4,000. So, like I said, I'll tell you guys a little bit about him. Like, you know, 40-1. Right, those are pretty good odds. Like, you'll take them, right? Obviously, like if you hit with that, you're running away. Some of the things I was looking at with him is statistically and everything, and it just seems like he has a better chance to win it than being 40-1. I felt like he should have been a little bit higher up the board. Like that was a name that stuck out to me. Some backtracking with him, like he had a really good season on the Challenge Tour, like in 21, right, with 7 like top 10 finishes, and he got promoted then to the European Tour last year. And like he's posted top 10s like at the Porsche European Open. So it's in like 1, 2, 3 other ones during his rookie season. So I mean, he's doing really well. And then he also like has multiple appearances for his country, like when he was an amateur too. So like he's not like a stranger to competitive golf by any means, right? Like he's just not a name that you see or hear on the PGA Tour. So I feel like that was why his odds were a little bit higher potentially, just because people don't know who he is.
Yeah.
And I think that he has a chance to do really well this weekend. And at 40-1, what the hell, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe he's trying to rack up some points for Ryder Cup too, because they're hurting for players.
And that's kind of what I was thinking about. That is like, well, why is he like coming over and playing in this event? But it's like it's a really
He may not
really-
have qualified for the Scottish too. That could be a thing
Mhm.
because it's not high enough in the world just to get signed up.
Yeah, because I think he's like I want to say somewhere like 300th or something like
Yeah.
that. So
Well, they had even said that Luke Donald had already played with Aberg a few times, and he's probably going to be on the Ryder Cup team.
Nicholas Norgard. That's why I couldn't find it. The
Yeah.
G is right after.
yeah, and there's like 2 A's in there, and
Wild.
I just type it like I sounded out.
Yep. Well, do we want to talk? Do we like any of these props? We were talking
Oh wait,
about.
what about my picks?
Holy shit!
Wow,
You guys had the
Eric.
same list. I
No.
thought we were. Everything's been.
Different on the wins.
There we are.
There's a few
You're right.
different ones.
Adam's winners are blank. Let's fill
Yeah.
these in.
So I also had Glover at 2,000. Batia at 2,800. And then Pat Kasirer at 5,000.
man,
Yeah.
I like that. I like that
It
too.
looks
I
too
like that
good.
too. And I could only put him at a top 20, but I like
Yeah.
that. That's good.
Kevin Streelman at 2,800. And I don't know what the guy's first name is. His last name's Koost at 2,500.
Didn't he lead the first round last week?
Yeah, he was Peter Koost. I think that's how you say it. But yeah, he was playing really pretty good last week for a while. So, and I think he might have even played good the week before that. So
What are his odds? I'm still scrolling.
2,500.
Oh, nice.
So it's not bad. I mean, he's one of the
No.
top 10 favorites. So
These top 10 odds are blowing my mind. The favorite is 2-1 to finish in the top 10.
yeah,
And most of the field I've never heard of.
that shows they have no idea who's going to win either.
I mean, I have 2 former
Sucks
winners
for
on my
them because we fucking do.
Yeah.
I have 2 former winners on my list. I feel good about that, like with
We
Piercy and Murray.
Yeah, we should talk to somebody at DK and see what the deal is, how they do their handicapping, because it's not great but it works good for us.
I agree.
Yep. I'm not complaining. Not even a little. These top 10s and top 20s are going to be on fire this week. Feel great about it. Let's see. Yeah, do we want to
had,
talk Scottish or props?
Didn't- You said you had Streelman on your list, right?
Yeah.
So that was like a story from last year, right? With like, because Mullinax won and he beat was it last year? Yeah, it was last year where he beat Streelman by a stroke, right? On the 18th, he hit like a 15 footer or something like that from the edge of the green to beat Streelman by a stroke or something.
Yeah.
That was because like last year there was all that weather, and they ended up having to play a ton of holes in a row. I feel like
yeah,
because there was a ton of rain delay.
it was
there,
rain.
so-
Yeah. What was it like one of those tournaments where we felt like it was never going to end because it just kept rain and then play and then rain and play.
Yeah, 33 holes on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's a lot of golf.
Wow. Yeah, I'd say. I mean, what is your mental fortitude able to do? Like, how many holes can you really focus for? 20?
I mean, I was actually just from a player's perspective, I was actually just talking to somebody about this today. I've talked to several people about this. But if you're a top player, and let's say you shoot 65, well, you're probably going to have between 25 and 30 putts. So take that out. So now you're at 30 total shots. Well, you're probably going to have, 10 chip shots or short pitch shots. So you're only at 20 full swings for the whole tournament.
Mhm.
So
That's
if you break
true.
it down that way. I mean, the walking is the hardest part and the start stop and the stress of playing. But as far as the physical ability of playing golf, you go out and hit 40 range balls and take full cuts with your driver. Well, you're only going to hit 40 full shots in 36 holes. So
Yeah. I was actually just talking about that too with somebody the other day, and someone who plays competitively, and they were talking about, I asked, I said, how do like rain delays like mess with your rhythm and what you do and everything, and some of the events that you play in, yeah, you have to play 36 holes in a day, right? Which they're like, that's not really a big deal, like that you're expecting to play that many holes, and then if you get rained out and then you play the next day and you have to play extra holes the next day, well, you're expecting to play that many, so it's not really that big of a mental thing for you, right? He was saying like the biggest thing that the issue is when you get delayed because of weather and you're going to end up playing again that day, you just don't know when. So then it's like you don't know when you should start getting yourself ready and back into the rhythm of I need to get back on the golf course thing.
Yeah, I have a hard time, like when we have rain delays, it's like, they'll let you usually go to the range to loosen up, but sometimes you can't because it's rained so much. But it's like if your body's already going and you're a person that, recovers after a round, now you're recovering after the holes you played. Well, you need to know when to like get your body worked up again. It's like a player that, goes out in the first quarter and with fouls and then has to set for 2 quarters before they come back in or set for 10 minutes. You got to like get your body going again, so your swing doesn't feel as good as it did when you go back out. It's just tight and it's hard to get really loosened up and get back in the flow of it.
Yeah, so I found that interesting, right? Because it's like, playing 36 holes in a day is not the issue. It's because if like, all right, this is when I'm going to play those 36 holes. Okay, well, here's my day. But to where if you're hunkered down by weather and you don't know exactly when it's going to be done and when you get to go back on, you can't plan all that out.
Yeah,
being an athlete, like, that's tough to do because your body has a process.
Right. And you see, like, the worst is playing in the weather, like on, was it Friday or Saturday when it rained at the Deer? It was Friday. And Zach Johnson and Kuchar are trying to make the cut and it's raining. And all of a sudden the greens are like a foot and a half slower and they're having trouble getting it to the hole. So that's what sucks, is the worst. And that's why they always say like the British and the Scottish Open, like, it's just going to be luck of the draw, because if you get the part of the course where it's perfect, or you get the part of the round when it's just dumping or windy, it's completely different course. It's not equal, which is the complaint with Live, that you're not playing the course equal every hole as everyone else, because when you play a shotgun start, it was explained on TV and it made total sense. But when you play a shotgun start, you're not playing the holes in the sequence they were designed. You're playing them in a different sequence. I mean, you're playing them all in a row, but you're not like working up into the hard part of the courses. You might play the hard holes first and then get into the easy holes, or play the easy holes and then get into the hard holes.
And that was something like for me when I was a high school golf coach, that was something for me that was really hard when we go into these events and there are shotgun starts and you're trying to prepare each kid a little bit differently for how, like, all right, well, you're starting with the hardest hole in the course.
Yeah.
And then you're ending with the toughest hole. And, those types of things. And you kind of almost need to, like, once in a while, I would have to switch up the order of my 5 golfers, and it wouldn't always be my number one, wouldn't always be my best golfer. I wanted, because you want to play the course the way in which it was designed, because you get into a flow a little bit out there. And there's a reason why holes are set up the way they are.
Right. Yeah. It's like if you went to Erin Hills and all of a sudden you're starting on 14 or 15, that's a whole different golf course than starting on 1.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've done that in private events out there where I'm caddying for guys and we're starting on the back 9 in the middle of the back 9 somewhere. I'm like, this is just wrong.
Yeah.
Here's a random question. I'm trying to fill out my DFS lineup with a cheap guy. Your buddy Gliglick, any chance he makes the cut at this event?
I would think so. I don't know if he made it last week.
How much you got left?
It's Gliglick or Kevin. Well, Tway's much more expensive. I need one of these like 6,500, 6,700 guys.
So
I thought I had Streelman, but it must be like Streelman's kid or something.
What about like
his old Gliglick?
How's James Hahn been playing this year?
Hit or miss. I think you're better off taking like a guy like Harry Higgs.
Yeah, I was just looking at Higgs. Is he in that same area?
Higgs is 8,000. They're on to him.
Oh,
as well as Norregard. He's 9,100.
see, I
Somebody's
told
watching
you.
the live show.
I got Glover, Norregard, Murray, Kazir, and Gliglick, and now I need one more cheap guy.
Don't say that name again. What is wrong with that name? Why does that give him
It really bothers. It sounds like a sound. It sounds like the the noise you make before you throw up.
What name are
Maybe.
you what name are you talking about right now?
Gliglick.
Oh, it's
He
funny.
hates it. The first time I said what I didn't know that was the thing, but I was like, something bothered him.
That's
there.
like Super Troopers. Like the next person is saying shenanigans. He's gonna get pistol whipped. Hey Farva, what's that place
What's
you always
that-
like to go to? Oh, you mean shenanigans?
What about like Andrew Novak?
Ooh. Andrew Novak, 9,000.
How much money do you have left right now?
I have 6,500 fake.
Give us
digital dollars.
like 6-7
What do we
guys
got?
right now that you got in that range.
Watney, McGirt, old Max McGreevy's down here. He
I was
always
going to say
is.
is Max McGreevy
I'm
on
always
the list.
tempted to go Max McGreevy. I'm doing it.
I mean,
Max McGreevy.
he's
Submit.
like just a
Well, hold on. What about Jim Herman?
Let's see.
Max McGreevy's so hit or miss right now. I feel like he's just
Herman's 7,100, just out of my price range.
That sucks. He would have been a good one.
Unless I dropped
He's a former
Kazir.
winner.
I mean, Nick Wadney's pretty decent.
I saw him down there.
What's Kelly Kraft doing? Is he in that range?
Nick Watney, 6,400. Perfect.
I mean, I
Now
think
we
Nick
got
Wadney's
Glover.
a safer bet than Max McGreevy, but if he wins, then don't get mad.
This is the one right here.
How
We got
How
Glover,
about Jason Duffner?
Norregard.
Yeah, I don't know how Duff's been playing a little bit. He's kind of in that Fowler clique, and I don't know if he's been
Well, we
showing
got-
some signs, but then the next week he's like not even close. Like if we get to a track where it's like a 10 to 12 under, he might have a chance, but a 20 plus, I think he struggles making a ton of birdies.
I'm going to need AK to dig deep in his
Oh my
bag
God.
for his never missed a cut in a million years guy this week.
Yeah, so Duffner was T31 last week.
Yeah.
I mean, top 30 is not
I
bad.
think
All
he was
right.
staying, I think he was staying with the JT posting.
Was he?
I think he was.
But here's the deal with Duffner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
Missed cuts.
13, 14, 15 missed cuts and a withdraw this year.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Ouch.
that's rough.
But he shot the T31, so he's getting it back on the rails.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's his best of the year so far, I think. Let me see. Yeah, that's his best. That's his best. He had a T32, I think, or T36 at the Valspar.
All right.
Oh,
AK saying
Phoenix Open,
Chalmers.
he was T32.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, you look at his scores where he actually places well.
Yeah, it's like the 8 to 12.
Yep, because he was 11 under at the
Yeah.
Deer.
He just
Yeah, that's
can't
not going to happen this week.
at his age, and it's just hard. I mean, at some point, those guys at the certain age, like they can't take it deep. That's why Brooks Koepka hates the opens where it's
Gosh,
10
crazy.
plus,
Yeah, I can't believe he's 46 already.
He's 4 years away. I thought he was around the same age as me.
You guys are old.
Hey, senior tour, man. The problem for him is that when he gets on senior tour, there's 15 other guys that turn 50.
Yeah.
I mean, then you're like, well, shit, it's the same problem I have. It's like when I turn 50, it's like all the best club pros turn 50. So it's like, cool. Well, I get to play against you for the rest of my playing career. That's going to be awesome.
Right, because how does take those guys away though? I mean, how does Duffner even do on the senior tour? I mean, I don't know. Like, there's some guys who are.
He probably moves it. The courses are a little shorter, a little more playable. But I mean, dude, you got to beat Stricker. You got to beat Bernhard. You got to beat a dozen
That's what I'm
guys.
saying. I mean, I guess just looking at his stats though. I mean, the senior tour would definitely bode well for his game.
Yeah.
because you're looking at stuff like, I mean,
Gets
he's
a ride a cart, you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good call.
That's a real bonus.
He looks like a cart rider
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. He looks like he has a few beverages when he plays.
I'm doing one Max McGreevy lineup just because I don't want to be the guy who didn't have Max McGreevy. And Smotherman. All right, I got a Chalmers lineup. Chalmers really lets you do some stuff.
I
It's
just
nice and cheap.
looked at the Scottish, and of course Scotty's favorite, but I think I would watch at least one day to see how his putter's going. If
I'm
the
just
guy
really
gets his
getting
putter
sick of
figured
seeing
out,
these odds, man, it's crazy. Like we talk about how awesome competition has been, right? And
I mean, the field at the Scottish is deeper than any major that we've had all year. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Tom
think
Kim,
about how good golf is right now, right? And you still have Scotty Scheffler in an event,
yeah.
and he is plus 650 to win it, and the next guy's Rory at 950.
I mean, if you go 30 players deep at the Scottish and it's Patrick Rogers at 15,000, it's like, dude, I mean, they're not giving anyone a chance. I mean, it just shows how good they are.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go in here and just say, okay, I'll take the guy that's in 25th place. Well, that's Sung J M. Well, that's a pretty good pick, you know, and he's
Yeah.
at 6,000 to win.
Wow. And any of these guys, like these guys are all incredible at golf. They could all just have
Yeah.
a day like Sepp Straka just had.
I think the Scottish is just like, they're there just to play some links golf and get your kind of wheels under you for links golf, because it's totally different visuals. But I mean, there's no way you can talk me into playing 2 weeks over there in tournament golf. It's just
Yeah, for
terrible.
real.
The weather is so
Eating
sketch.
fucking wet potatoes and beef jerky or whatever the hell they.
No ice in your
mushrooms.
sodas and stuff like that. It's just like, man.
What's wrong with that? I love that.
I mean, I get it that people go over there for these bucket list trips, but that's like,
They probably call soda something weird too.
that's not on my bucket list to go over and play in
To not have
Would
ice.
you
in
like
your
a
adverse-
hullabaloo?
adverse conditions and, you know, stay in tiny hotel rooms and pay thousands of dollars to play golf
Fucking
And
charger
just
don't
get-
even plug in.
and just get beat up on the golf course.
Yeah.
I'd much rather be at the
By
Barbasol in
elements, the
Tennessee. And,
course, the locals.
yeah, I'd much rather be in the Barbasol just hanging out for the week.
Yeah, unless you're in a dry county in Kentucky, I don't know how that works.
But it's Kentucky. I mean, you could probably drive 5 miles and find a distillery.
Yeah, there's a distillery in the woods over
Yeah, or
here.
there's somebody in the woods that's
There
down
might
the
be a
road,
guy
yeah.
with a still just right off of 14T. You never know.
Yep. They got the good stuff. How do they do that? That Moonshiner show has to be completely staged, because otherwise, how are they
Has to be.
following these criminals around and the police and the criminals never intersect?
Right, has to be.
I watch that show all the time. I mean, it's crazy, dude.
It's great, like laying on the couch, not doing nothing TV.
I mean, I think they just like do it on private property. And by the time you get the proper paperwork to like, like get a search warrant, they've already moved to somewhere else.
Yep. They're crafty.
I mean, it can't be that hard to like drive around this town that they all live in and see like, oh, there's a film crew. There's a film crew. Like, why don't we just tail them? But I guess then there's probably some law against that. I don't know.
Yep. Maybe. Yep.
I
Maybe
can't
our
imagine that the
forefathers
police
screwed
aren't
something up.
benefiting from the tourist dollars that they get off of these,
Yeah.
shows.
Let those yokels in the bibs do their thing
Yeah,
and just worry about the parking tickets.
exactly.
Boy, AK is going to have me building 5-6 lineups. I got
It's okay.
I got Chalmers in one. I got to get old Alex Levy. Kjeldsen. That's a hell of a name.
I think the K is silent.
See? He knows. AK knows how to dig through the bargain bin and make these lineups happen. That way you can get maybe Glover and Pendrith in there. Maybe Glover, Pendrith, and Bhatia.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Chris liked that one.
Yep.
I said it.
As long as Gliglick
long
isn't
as-
in there.
As long as he's nowhere near this event. Yep. Well, it's about enough, right? We're at an hour. It's bedtime. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Adam and Smitty, for all your unified picks. I feel great about those. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, but you have, so I don't even know why I'm telling you that. Go follow us on the Twitter at Plus Money Golf. All one word. Other than that, we'll see you right back here next Tuesday for more Plus Money opportunities. Adam, say something cool like the golfers say.
$50, you slice it into the woods.
Thanks for listening to Plus Money Golf. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. In the meantime, keep up with the show on Facebook and Instagram at Plus Money Golf and on Twitter at PSR Golf. Until next time.